You know, it's been a long time since I first lifted a dumbbell, and I can honestly say that in the years that have passed since then, I've learned a few things about training and understanding how my body moves and operates. So I thought to myself, if I could take all of this accumulated knowledge that I have, and I had to start all the way over again from square one, day one, as a brand new beginner in the gym, how would I go about structuring a training program that would help me reach the goals that I have now? With those goals being to improve my movement, so better control over my muscles and my joints, and my overall ability to move my body in new and different ways. And improving strength and muscle. So not just being able to access new movements, but being able to build strength and muscle so that way I can move stronger, faster, and more powerfully through those movements. If your goals going into the new year are similar to mine in that you want to move better and get stronger, then this may be helpful for you. This is going to be a series of workouts, a training program that you can use and build on based around foundational movement patterns. And foundational movement patterns form the basis of all human movement. So it's designed around getting you to move better and stronger. Just like any good training program, today's workout, we're going to start with a leg day because all good training programs start with leg day. Now, before we get into this, I'm going to preface that this workout and the rest of the workouts in this beginner strength training series is just a template that you can use. You can either follow it exactly if you're able to, or depending on your training experience, if you're less conditioned or more conditioned, you can adjust the program to your needs, whether that's adjusting your sets, your reps, your rest periods, adding in more exercises, adding in exercises that you see that you want to add to it. Feel free to customize it and build it and design it to however you need to make it your own, and use this as a guide to get you started. All right. Let's do the thing. So to kick off the squat day workout, we're going to start with the warm-up, which is going to consist of 3 different exercises. These are going to be done as a circuit. So we're going to do exercise 1, exercise 2, and then exercise 3 before taking a 1 to 2 minute rest, repeating that circuit, and then we'll get into the strength training part of the workout. First 3 exercises we're going to do are going to be horizontal squats, which are going to help with taking our knees and hips through full range of motion, along with getting some blood flow and warming up our quads and glutes. And then we have RKC planks, which is like a plank, but better. You'll see in a minute. And then we've got a last exercise of the circuit, which is going to be balance training to help build foot strength, along with building more leg and core strength, so warming up those quads, glutes, and our core even more, so that way when it comes time to doing the squats, we can go right into some heavy lifts. Starting off, horizontal squats. We're gonna get into a high plank position. Hands are gonna be directly underneath your shoulders. Feet are gonna be about shoulder width apart, so you wanna have a nice wider base to make it better, so you can get a better push off with your legs as we come back up. In this high plank position, you want to keep your glutes and your abs engaged the whole time. From here, we're just sitting back from our hips, bringing our heels, our butt towards your heels. We're going to pause at the bottom, and then you're going to push with your legs, coming back to this high plank position. So nice and controlled on the way back. Think about 4 seconds on the way back. Pause at the bottom, and then pushing with your legs, using those quads and glutes to come back to the starting position. And as you're coming back, you want to keep your knees off the ground the whole time. And then drive back up. Another thing to do with your hands is use your hands to guide yourself back. So pushing yourself back with your hands from here. Pause at the bottom. And then driving through the legs. After horizontal squats, we're gonna do RKC planks. Before I show you that, I'm gonna say apply downward pressure on the plank. And I wanna show you what I mean before we get into the plank, just because it's easier to see here as opposed to when I'm actually doing the plank. So, arms are gonna be set up here like this. When I say apply downward pressure, you're thinking of pulling your elbows, sliding them down to the ground. Not a lot, just a little bit to pull down, and you're gonna feel all of these muscles engage. You're gonna really feel your abs engage. So, when I say apply downward pressure and hold that, that's what I mean. For the RKC plank, set up just like a normal plank. Feet are gonna be hip width apart, elbows are gonna be directly underneath your shoulders. Whole forearm is pushing into the ground, and with your heels, think of trying to drive your heels back towards the ground. Quads are going to be engaged, glutes engaged, and from here, we're going to apply that downward pressure, so you're going to feel those abs really engage. Now your whole body is locked in. From here, you're just holding, keeping that downward pressure the whole time, keeping your glutes squeezed, keeping your abs engaged, and focusing on your breathing. Then we have heavy balance as our last exercise in the circuit. After that, we'll take a break, do another round. For the balance exercise, we're gonna need a heavy dumbbell. This dumbbell, we're just gonna hold here at our chest. All we're gonna do is balance on one leg. Sounds very simple, but I can assure you it is a challenging exercise. To set up, you want the midline of your knee to line up the second and third toes on your foot. So if you had a straight line coming down, that foot will be nice and straight. From here, you want to think about making an arch with your foot, so kind of grabbing down with your toes and arching your foot like that. So, set up, make your arch with your foot. Here, you want to engage your quads, your glutes, and you're going to have a full brace around your core, so keep everything nice and locked in. Grab your dumbbell, and then keep that engagement with everything, foot grabbing down, quads and glutes engaged. Core is braced, shoulders back in a nice tall posture, so don't let the weight pull you forward and slouch down. Try to maintain that position the whole time. Be as rock solid and steady, stable as you can. After that, go right into the next leg. So again, setting up, grabbing down, making that arch with the foot, quads and glutes engage. Up, and balance. After that, take a break, 1 to 2 minute rest, and then one more set through with the horizontal squat, RKC plank, balance, and then we're gonna get into goblet squats. All right, moving on to the strength training portion of the workout. We are going to start with our foundational movement pattern, which is gonna be squats. We're gonna do 3 sets, taking a break after each set. So do your first set of squats, 1 to 2 minute break. Next set, finish out, and then we go on to the next exercise after that. These first 2 sets with the squats are gonna be tempo. So we're gonna be focusing on the eccentric muscle action, so the lengthening portion of how our muscles work. So this is going to help us focus on deceleration and absorbing force. And then the third set, we're going to go heavier, and that's where we're going to work more of the concentric muscle action. But to set this up, feet are going to be anywhere from hip width to shoulder width apart. Toes slightly pointed out. We're going to hold the kettlebell or dumbbell at our chest, just like we did with the balance exercise. Lowering ourselves down for 4 seconds with a 2-second pause at the bottom, and then coming up. So as I'm sitting back, breaking from the hips, dropping down, 4 seconds down, 2-second pause at the bottom, and then pushing my feet through the ground to come back up. So lower down, nice and controlled. Keep your core braced the whole time. Pause, drive your feet through the ground. And one thing to note here when you're doing the squat, a good way to help with your positioning is to make sure that the weight and your head are over your foot, because everyone has different limb lengths, body mechanics, how their body is structured. And so having your head and the weight over your feet is going to help you put your body in a good position, so your center of gravity stays over your foot to help keep you balanced. That is how you want to set up your squats. Take your 1 to 2 minute break, and then we're going to go on to set 2, and then finally our last set after that, which is going to be a little heavier with the weight, and then we'll move on to our next exercise. Now that both sets are done with our tempo, we're going to go more concentric focused. So no tempo, but a nice and controlled, even pace down and back up. So about 2 seconds down, 2 seconds up. Set 3, the only thing that changes is the speed at which we're doing it and the weight that you're holding. Form and everything else stays the exact same. So weights at your chest, core is braced. Sitting down, breaking from the hips, feet push through the ground, quads and glutes are engaging. Head stays over foot, so does the weight. So, 3 sets of squats. Then we get into our next exercise, and more on that in a minute. Stay tuned. All right, next exercise we have is going to be a multiplanar reach. So you're going to need a band for this. This is just a full loop band. This is going to go just above your knees. This is going to help. We're going to train our glutes through frontal plane, a little bit of transverse plane, which for your training in your planes of motion is a very, very important concept in training if you want to move better and get stronger, because certain muscles work best moving through certain planes of motion. So a very important key piece of training is to train your planes. Okay, now that we've got the band set up, same thing. We're going to do 3 sets. There's no tempo on this. We're going to pause for 2 seconds at each position and 8 reps. So you want to set up a little bit of an athletic stance, so kind of breaking from your hips, like if you were in sports getting ready for play, or getting ready for whatever it is you're going to do. So feet about hip width, shoulder width apart. slight hinge back in the hips. From here, you're gonna take one leg, you're gonna lead, kick out with it, and you wanna lead with the heel, so don't have your foot turned out. Try to keep it straight. You're gonna feel that glute. 2-second pause here. Come back to the middle, and then we're kicking back 45 degrees or so. Same thing, leading with that heel so that foot stays straight. 2-second hold here. Get back in. This will be all hips for this one. All right, so now that we've finished all 3 sets on our multiplanar reach, it's time to move on to the last exercise of this beginner strength training workout, which is going to be calf raises. These are also going to be a tempo exercise. We're going to do that for all 3 sets, and I'll show you what that looks like set up here in a minute. As you can see, I am clearly not set up for calf raises, but that's just because I got to show you the equipment that I'm using. I'm going to be using a slant board, which, if you don't know what a slant board is, I'm gonna be standing here, feet go on it, and then calf raising from here. If you don't have a slant board at your gym, then any calf raise machine will work, whether it's a standing one, a seated one, just as long as you can do the calf raise motion, this will work. A slant board and a kettlebell is what I have access to here at the gym, so that's what I'm going to use. That's what I like using. And this is what I think does good for my calves. All right, let's get to it. Feet are going to be about hip width apart. And from here, all we're doing, your weight is driving up as high as you can, putting pressure through the insides of your feet. So trying to push through your big toe as you come up. 2-second hold here at the top. And then we're going to go 4 seconds, lowering down. Try to push your range of motion, get as much range of motion as you can. Push that big toe through the slant board. Get as much height as you can. Get as much stretching through the calves as you can as you lower down. We're back. Did our 12 reps, calf raises. Since this is a lower intensity exercise, it's not as nearly as taxing. Your rest periods can be shorter on this, like a minute or less. Go right into the next one. 2 sets, 2 more sets, and then that'll be a wrap. We'll wrap these up, and then we'll finish with closing thoughts. Okay. Now that we've knocked out the 3rd set of calf raises, that's going to be a wrap on today's beginner strength training squat day workout. This is going to be the format that you can expect going forward with the rest of these foundational movement pattern beginner strength training series, where we start with that warm-up, go into our foundational movement pattern, and then accessory work after that. The rest of the foundational movement patterns we're going to be focused on, we've got pulling, pushing, hinging, and lunging. Again, these are going to make up some of our foundational movement patterns, which all of the basis of human movement is rooted in these patterns. If you want to move well and get strong, your focus should be on training the things that are going to get you to move well and move strong. All right, drop any questions down below, like, comment, subscribe, do things, and stay tuned for the next workout. It's coming soon.